The Scoop.
All right, there's nothing I love better in college football than chaos. And I think we may be staring square in the eye, abject chaos. I hate and love the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. I hate the concept as a sports fan. The unmitigated gall that it requires for a collection of people to say, I know they played each other, but I believe my opinion is more important than the outcome of a game. You have to respect it. I mean, you have to be like, well, I give you credit. You got onions. I mean, to say that, to actually say that with a straight face is hilarious to me, but they do it. And it just gives us endless room for discussion. So there are a variety of ways this thing could go sideways. The chaos. And my dream scenario is that they put in Notre Dame over Cincinnati. That's my dream scenario because there will be nothing. I don't care what they do with Alabama. I don't care what they do with Ohio State. I don't care what they do with anybody. There is nothing that will cause greater screaming, yelling, chaos, and for me, delight than them putting Notre Dame ahead of Cincinnati, which parenthetically they could absolutely justify doing. Notre Dame has the number 3 strength of record. So when you look at the strength of record, these resumes, I've got the sheet. I love the sheet. The strength of records, meaning just if every team played this schedule, played your schedule, where would they be? The number 1 strength of record in the country right now is Georgia. Number 2 is Alabama. Number 3 is Notre Dame. Number 4, by the way, is Michigan. And then Cincinnati is 5. And that's where it gets interesting to me. If Cincinnati's strength of record winds up falling, how far will it fall? If they win out, because clearly Notre Dame is going to have better teams to play the rest of the way than Cincinnati does. That's just the way it's going to be. So Cincinnati's strength of record we will think will fall slightly. But it's not going to fall to like 40.
No.
So let's just say for the sake of argument, Notre Dame winds up with 1 loss and the number 4 strength of record in the country.
Okay.
Cincinnati winds up with 0 losses and the number 12 strength of record in the country, a super respectable strength of record. And they beat Notre Dame in their stadium in South Bend. How could you justify putting Notre Dame in there ahead of Cincinnati? Because I will bet you everything I have that's what they do.
I think that you're onto something here. They could easily justify it because they major in the subjective, and they can easily tell themselves in that room that just because this happened then doesn't mean we feel the same way about these teams now. I'll give you a comparison. Last year, as we entered the NFL playoffs, right, we knew that the Saints had destroyed the Bucs in both head-to-head meetings.
Right.
But going into the playoffs, we had a good reason to believe that the Buccaneers were the best team. They were the hottest team.
Right.
That will be Notre Dame at the end of the regular season. Obviously, they do it very differently in the NFL, of course, as well they should. But if you're watching these teams play every week right now, Notre Dame is a better team, and the College Football Playoff Committee holds himself to that standard.
So, I mean, that's the point. Their standard is it doesn't matter as much what happened on the field as it matters what we think. Now, that's a ridiculous. What person in their right mind thinks, well, that's a good idea. That's an excellent way to settle this. Let's just let a bunch of people's opinion overrule things that actually happened on the grass.
But they've already set that precedent with Michigan and Michigan
Correct.
State. They've opened the door, and watch, Ohio State is going to pass Oregon this week, regardless of whether or not Oregon wins, I think.
Yes.
That's going to happen.
I agree, too. So, I mean, all these things are on the table, and I'm here for it. As I've said, as a sports fan, I hate it, but as a talk show host, I love it. Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.